Hey there, how's it going everyone? Welcome back, Plant Abundance here. Today is April 15th, 2018, and I'm out here in the backyard food forest doing a bit of spring maintenance on my fruit trees, doing a bit of thinning, doing a bit of pruning. Here we're looking at a Florida King peach tree. This is a vigorous grower. And what I've been doing is going around and checking some of the upward growth happening on this tree. I just don't want it getting too out of control. It's already beginning to shade out the white nectarine here next door, as you can see. So bringing this down a little bit, also being careful not to take too much off. Want to make sure the canopy is nice and full so we don't get any sun scald later in the season. Things are only going to get hotter, but creating some nice airflow by taking out some cross branching and also taking out some of that upward growth. So as I'm making my cuts, I'm being aware of where it is that the nodes are located on the branch, as that's where the new growth's going to emerge and that's the direction it's going to grow out. So right in the crook of each leaf, there's either a node or there's already a new branch starting to grow. And I want to make sure that when I'm making my cut that the new growth is going to grow outward, not inward towards the center of the tree. That just helps to create a nice open canopy, nice and full. You don't want too much sun exposure, but you want to have that new growth going outward. It's going to be beneficial in the long run. So if I made a cut just right here, this new growth going right towards the center of the tree, don't want that. So I'm going to go down to the next node, and this growth here is going out from the tree. So I'm going to cut just above that at a slight angle. And I just took off about a foot. And in some cases, like right here, there's so much growth that I might take out the entire branch. This one here shooting straight up. It's going to come out. There's another one took the whole thing out. That already opened it up, managed some of that height. Here you can see we've got a little bit of browning on the tip. So I'm just going to completely remove, actually, cut it right here. Completely remove that little branch there. Here's another branch. It's growing in between these two, very dense. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the whole thing. Just like that. These can make for some of the most important cuts of the year, if you ask me. I'm already setting the foundation for next year's growth pattern as I am managing the height. So in many instances, fruit trees may not need this level of attention, but this particular tree, like I said, is a vigorous grower. And so by taking out some of the cross branching and the upward growth right now, it's really going to be beneficial throughout the entire season and into next year. And here's an inward growing branch right here. You can see it's just heading right into the center of the tree. We're going to take, well, here's what I'm going to do here actually. I'm going to leave two nodes on that branch instead of taking it completely out. So now you can see there's just a 4-inch, 3-inch branch here, and there's actually 3 nodes that could actually produce fruit. And by doing that, I give myself some options when doing my winter pruning at the end of this year as to if I want to leave it there for some fruit next year, or I can take it out. But either way, I've cleared the opening there. I've stopped the growth from heading towards the center of the tree, and I left myself with some options. And don't worry if you're just now starting to learn how to prune your fruit trees. Everything comes with time. So don't be in a big rush. If you're not 100% comfortable with what you're doing, make a few cuts today, come out again tomorrow, get a fresh perspective, and slowly work on the tree. You don't have to get it all done at once. Here again is some inward growth, and you can see we've got a fruit there, and all of this is right in the center of the tree, towards the bottom of the canopy actually, so it's not even going to get sunlight probably just a few days from now. I also see there's some fruit on one of the limbs here. I want that fruit at this point, but I'm going to take out this entire branch here. Now on this limb, you see we got 3 fruits, so I missed thinning this when I was thinning before. I'm going to take off this double right here. These are growing together. I'm going to leave that fruit. I'm going to make my cut just above that. Alright, so we stopped that inward growth. We're keeping the fruit. We did a bit of thinning all at once. So here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 growing tips, all relatively close to each other. I'm going to take out this largest one that's growing straight up off the tree, thin things out. It's much better. You can see this new branch, for example, shooting right into the middle of the tree, totally the wrong direction. Just going to take that out. So cuts like this are doing a couple different things. They're opening up the canopy just enough to allow the branches that you are trying to focus growth on to get their sunlight. It's also allowing for more airflow throughout the tree, which is beneficial to try to avoid the peach leaf curl. And here's an instance where this limb is starting to hang. You can see I left a couple fruits really close to each other there. I'm going to go ahead and remove this one here, just to lighten the load on this younger branch and allow this remaining fruit to get much larger. And for the next tree here, I'm not going to be doing any thinning with the hand pruners. I'm just going to go around thin fruit and remove any diseased leaves. And that's what the peach leaf curl looks like. Nasty stuff, but we definitely got the upper hand on it last year and throughout this year with treatment. Both removing those leaves, getting them off the property, and then spraying the dormant tree with copper fungicide. And you don't have to remove the leaves. Some commercial growers will just let the tree cycle through with the fungus, and eventually it'll drop those leaves and flush out new growth. Because I'm managing such a small piece of land in contrast to a commercial grower, I find it doesn't take much time to go ahead and manually come around and prune the diseased leaves when I see them. And that way when the tree does shed, it doesn't drop all those fungus dominated leaves around the base of the tree. And I feel that by doing it this way, I'm eradicating the fungus slowly but surely. Who knows if I'll ever be able to completely get rid of it. I don't think so. But as long as the tree doesn't suffer like it has in previous years because of just too much of the fungus, then we're doing good. So not that bad. That's about all I'm going to do on this tree for now. And I'm getting ready now to spray these trees and the rest of my garden with some compost tea I've been brewing. That's that humming noise in the background you might be hearing. This batch here has been going for nearly 48 hours. I usually shoot for 24 hours, but 48 hours is fine as well. You can see we got some good healthy foam there on top. But we had some rain come into the area, so gave it some more time to brew while everything kind of dried out. Didn't want to dilute down the solution all that much, but I do have some more pruning I want to do on some of these trees. But for now, because it's getting a little later in the day, it's about 6 p.m. now, I'm going to get set up and broadcast the compost tea. How are you, little buddy? Whoa. Hey, little buddy. What are you doing? What are you doing? Atta boy. Oh, you want to play ball? Here. Atta boy. Alright, so here's my setup. Let me unplug the pump so you can hear me better. This is my Wayne half horsepower cast iron transfer utility pump. Basically we have an inlet hose here, which I'm going to sink down to the bottom of our compost tea brewer, which is why I got the wheelbarrow propped up like this with some wood there to hold the pump. This hose is getting a little kinked here. It's not really the correct hose. They make transfer pump hoses that are more reinforced, but this should still work. And first things first, I need to prime the pump, and we're going to fill it up with some of this compost tea right here at this opening. Just like that. And we'll screw in the plug. Don't need to go too tight on this, but a little past hand tight is what I do. And here's the spray nozzle I'll be using today. I picked up another one of these heavy-duty Gilmore brand spray nozzles. This is wonderful for doing the compost tea because you can twist the opening there at the end and control the flow. So these have no problems getting clogged up with little pieces of debris that might be in your compost tea. So as you can see, you can open it up really wide there and allow much pressure to flow and push out any clog that might develop. I'm going to throw it on a quick connector here. And I really like the thumb control here, very ergonomic. So I'm going to get my air pump out of the way here. And this is not an on-demand pump, so as soon as you plug it in, it gets going. And you pretty much want to keep the throttle open on your hose end sprayer the whole time. Otherwise, you're going to stress out the pump. Here we go. And I'm using a 25-foot rubber hose. You can go with a longer hose, but you get a little bit more power off the shorter runs. And again, in this batch that I brewed up, I used worm castings, liquid kelp, and some molasses. And it's best to apply this in the morning or in the evening. And that sound means we're running out. And which tree do I want to give this treat to? How about this 2-in-1 pair? And it's best to clean this thing out straight away. And once I got it all rinsed out, I like to let it air dry, keep it out in the sun for maybe a half a day or so before I put the lid back on and store it away. Or since everything's already out here, I might as well go ahead and fill it back up and run it through another cycle. In fact, I'll probably do 3 cycles this week before I pack it back up and put it away for a while. And this time, I'm going to be brewing up the batch in a different location. That way, when it comes time to spray, I can get the other section of the food forest I wasn't able to reach today. In between time, I'm also going to get this pump cleaned out. And I flipped it upside down, let the water drain out, let this dry as well. And I'm going to get this paint strainer cleaned up as well. And that's good. The rest of it will fall off once it dries. That's going to do it for now, everyone. Have yourself a great evening. I'll be talking to you again soon. Take care.